Hey, I hope all of y'all are doing well and staying safe in this crazy, crazy world we're living in right now. I was not planning on doing a little video today, but just had a stug. And for those of you, you may have seen one of my videos. In fact, it was the day that I found out my mom was being referred to hospice, and I talked about what a stug is, which is a sudden temporary upsurge of grief. And so I'm going to put that video on my end screen, so you can just click on it if you're interested and watch it. But I don't typically video outside if this is your first time with me here, Life with Al. But I just got back and had myself a pretty good cry, and I just wanted to share a couple of thoughts. And as a little bonus, in fact, I was looking on my phone when I got back and was sitting in my car before I went in the house, and I found a little video of my mom that I taped. In fact, it was the day that she was referred to hospice, and I'm not going to get into the details now because it's in that video, but she has some other issues other than her Alzheimer's, and so she was more aware than your typical dementia patient would be when she was referred to hospice. She was in fact very much aware of what that meant, and immediately started talking about going to heaven and wanting this to go fast. But when we got back to the house, I heard her in her bed, and she was just thanking Jesus. And I walked up to her and I said, what are you thanking Jesus for? And I'm going to play for y'all because I actually recorded it because I knew that I want to cherish her words. And I truly do. So I'm going to play that recording for y'all in just a few minutes, if you can stick with me while I just tell you kind of my thoughts, and hopefully it will encourage you other caregivers. First of all, I often think of a quote. It's by Joyce Meyer, that even if you're not verbatim, but even if your journey is difficult and you're given a cactus, you don't have to sit on it. Negative thoughts are just going to make your journey a lot harder. And so I keep that in mind. Al, talk about a cactus. He is difficult, prickly, stickly, makes our life harder, makes my mom's life harder, more importantly. But we've got to make the best of it. We're not going to sit on that cactus. We're going to try to see the beautiful pink bloom on top, and try to see whatever beauty we can find, because there is some. And I want to do a video about that, about how my mom in some ways is just becoming so childlike, and that's its own type of beautiful, if we can choose to see it that way. And I know that may sound a little bizarre. Excuse me. But I was thinking just about how I think once I do this little video, I'm going to be able to disengage from this grief for now. I have really become a master at compartmentalizing my feelings, and I think it's from all my years in hospice, especially in the beginning years, because I've always been pretty extreme with my emotions. Honestly, it's a blessing and a curse. But now when I have the extreme sadness, I don't linger there in depression like I did. I struggle with some in my 30s and 40s. Thankfully, I think can't speak for the future, but right now, for the last several years, when I really struggle with intense sadness, I'm able to really purge it, let it go. And honestly, I can be having a stug, which I will share with you in a minute, and the morning, and have a good shower weeping session, or like right now, coming outside and having a good cry, and then I can go in and put it aside. I'm going to be inside, believe me. I think we're going to do Let's Dance with my kids, happy that they're here, kind of quarantined with us. So we're going to do something fun, and I'm going to, I was going to say get this off my mind, but honestly, that's what I'm going to do. But one of the reasons I was able, I think, to learn to do this, maybe, I don't want to say better than other people, but I can really cut my feelings off and on. And for the most part, always exceptions to that. But I had this wonderful mentor named Dale when I was a newbie, green, clueless little hospice social worker. And I remember after about 3 months, I was like, I cannot do this. Back then, this was early 90s, and a lot of our patients were young. Half my caseload had AIDS, whole different world back then. Not that it's not equally sad now, but I had a lot younger patients than I think would be typical of a hospice caseload now. It's kind of irrelevant. But anyway, I was just burnt out after 3 months. And I remember her telling me, she said, Susan, you're carrying their pain with you. You have to learn to compartmentalize. She said, when you pull up in somebody's driveway, and she was Buddhist, and she would say, you shake off the negative energy. And she was real dramatic, and she would show me, you shake off the negative energy, you harness the positive. She said, you invite, that divine light to flow through you. You're a conduit. You do not, once you get in the house, you let that light flow through you to that person you're with. And then when you get back in your car, you know that grief is not yours, that loss is not yours, but turn off that negative energy. And she said, when you get back in your car, again, shake off their pain, their loss, that anxiety, whatever you just experienced. And then once again, you channel that positive energy and that divine light. Now, for me as a Christian, I still learned a lot from that. And so I've really learned, and I think that's one reason I was able to stay in hospice for almost 30 years, that when I'm with someone, to be, and she's stressed, when you're there, you feel it with them. You feel things very deeply when you're fully present with them. You weep with them, whatever it takes to let them know you're supportive and they're not alone. But then, you got to get on with your own life and enjoy it and experience happiness with no guilt. And so anyway, for me, what that means is I can go in and be with someone, or right now, with my mom, or what happened with me just a few minutes ago that I'll share real quickly. And then I can process it, I can cry about it, and then I can say, okay, God, I want you to flow through me. I want you to give me your light and your love to share with Mom. This is actually my loss, my grief right now, but still I can feel it, I can process it and not get stuck there, because life is too short, y'all. I was thinking yesterday, I think I've spent much time trying to create good memories, and then just reminiscing with my mom and enjoying, reminding her of all the good memories we have with her, which are important. I'm not saying memories aren't important, but it's so much more significant just to live in the present, just really being mindful that, I know it sounds cliche, today is all we have, this moment is all we have, but it's so true. So anyway, I'm sorry, I don't mean to ramble, but with all that, a while ago, I thought it was going to be a simple thing. It was a pretty good day here. So we actually relocated, bought a house in my mom's neighborhood because it was real important for her. She has a huge circle of friends here, so she wanted to stay in her same neighborhood, which I was happy we were able to do. So the lady who bought her house, who was wonderful, is letting us get plants from her yard because my mom has a green thumb. Her yard looked like something out of Better Homes and Garden. And so she called me and told me that she had a cutting from my mom's Confederate rose bush. And she wanted to, come to think of it, I don't know if y'all have those in the North, what they would be called. But anyway, her Confederate rose bush that my mom loved. It was her pride and joy. So I was going to surprise Mom with it. So just driving up at her whole old yard and seeing all of her spring flowers that are in bloom, and seeing her porch that, looked very different, and it should. It's no longer her home, obviously, but it just stuck. It was that sudden, oh my gosh, the tears are right here, and I started weeping, and I was so glad that Susie, the lady who lives in the house now, was just going to leave it on the front porch because I would not have wanted to get out and be just a weeping hot mess. And so I got out and I got the little pot and I thought, okay, I'm going to go back. I'm going to suck all this up, get this out, suck it up, and then go in and share this with Mom. Well, I came in to share it with Mom. She had no recollection. She didn't remember living in that house. she didn't remember her flowers when I said, this is your Confederate rose. And anyway, I don't even need to go over the details. It was hard. And so, if you saw my first video, and I've alluded to that bouquet of balloons, that represents our loved one, and those balloons drift away as they have, different losses. And that was just another balloon that drifted away that she doesn't have, those memories. And maybe she will tomorrow. We all know, it's later in the day. Things change day to day. But anyway, I wasn't expecting that sudden upsurge of grief, and caught me off guard. But anyway, what I want to share with y'all is, if you have that, I think the hard thing, and one thing that hospice taught me, was we have to grieve those losses. Obviously, we can't stuff our feelings. Whether you're a professional caregiver like I was for all those years as a social worker, I had to get in my car and allow myself to feel it. Sometimes I would weep for those families. I would pray for those families. But then I would say, I've got to get on with living. There's a time when you got to kind of shut it off and say, I'm going to be positive. I'm not going to sit on this cactus. I'm not going to stay here. I am going to find the good in this. And what is the old saying? Maybe it's a famous quote. I don't know who said it. Just because you have one bad day, don't think you have a bad life. Something to that effect. And, for us as caregivers, sometimes it's not even a bad day. Just because we have a bad hour or a bad experience during the day, it doesn't mean we had a bad day. And that's what I was telling myself. It's still been an okay, pretty good day. So anyway, we all know it's just a roller coaster of emotions. But I am thankful that that I'm able to process that. And for me, with my faith, and I just pray that I know our faith can look different as far as theology and definitely denominations. Don't get me started on that. But I just pray that you have a belief system, a spirituality that tells you that we do have a loving Creator, and there is a loving God who wants to comfort us. And because prayer right now is so important to me, and just knowing that, I'm not in this alone, and that my mom has hope. Boy, she talks about it a lot. In fact, as I was playing some different videos that really are just cute and funny, she was talking in one of them, I just watched it a few minutes ago, about going to heaven and my daddy getting and riding his horse. Anyway, I'm going to start including some of those at the end of my videos, because I think hopefully you'll get a good laugh, or at least some encouragement. But I think that's all I really wanted to share. If y'all are having a bad day, or not even a bad day, maybe it's just a bad moment, especially I think sometimes at the end of the day, if you're like me, you can get a little more melancholy as things get quiet. Just know that this too shall pass. That's one of my mom's favorite sayings. And, tomorrow maybe look a lot brighter. And if it doesn't, I believe that God's going to give us the strength and the grace to get through, whatever tomorrow brings. And, I think when you have that deep inner peace, even though there's this temporary sadness and grief, we know that it's going to pass, because, we grieve with hope. So anyway, I hope that encourages you today. I am going to now let you hear Sweet Gladys. Okay.
Being home and not having to have no more tests, and a good report, and the children all here, and not having to travel everywhere now. So I just got a lot of things to be thankful for.
We both have a lot to be thankful for, don't we?
I don't know if y'all could hear her. It's kind of hard because that recording actually is on my laptop, and I was trying to let you hear it on that. But basically she was saying that she's thankful that she doesn't have to go for any more tests, because she's been to so many specialists trying to figure out why she's so anemic. She was thankful all her kids were here. Just simple things she's thankful for. Sweet Gladys. But anyway, and I think that's the thing, we have to just remember the simple things, find something to be grateful for today. And maybe that's just that you're in a safe home, that we have food, that we have just modern conveniences, you know, electricity and water. And, you know, sometimes we have to get down to the basics and say we really are blessed. There are things to be thankful for. And that's what I'm going to focus on. You know, be intentional about our living a life of gratitude. You know, do what Oprah said, you know, keep your little gratitude journal. I don't keep an actual journal, but I do try to make a list at night and go through everything that I'm grateful for, and just thank God for those things. That's it. Until next time, y'all take care.